Everybody, and welcome to a casted game. Today we've got MaxTa spawning inside of the southern corner, playing as Odin. On the north side of the map we have ONU Zapata playing as Isis. Should be a really fun matchup here. A pretty common matchup, both of these gods being pretty popular primary gods inside of each of their pantheons. They're up there, and this should be a really fun matchup. So I don't know too much about these individual players, and really what I did is I just went to AOM.gg, shout out to Fitzbro for helping support and get that site running, and downloaded one of the games that has been on there with some higher rated players. We've got MaxTa, he's sitting at just over 1200, and then the other side we do have Zapata is just below the top 100 on the ladder right now, so little bit of a lopsided matchup when it comes to their elos right now, but we'll see how it goes. So let's just check quickly about what we expect from each of these different civilizations, and I'll start with MaxTa on Odin because that's what I've been playing mostly inside of my own ranked games. And typically with Odin you expect a bit of early aggression, using your scouts to get information on the enemy's villagers, getting some raiding cavalry or some throwing axemen out to go harass those villagers, and then typically expanding across the map without really spending too much time in your own base and putting protections around your own base. So we do usually expect a bit of early aggression. Pretty interesting here though, we do have MaxTa actually going for 2 early dwarfs, and he's got a 3rd in the queue. So usually with Odin, if you are looking for a bit slower of an age up, you usually go just for 2 dwarfs. And if you want a really fast age up, you don't go for any dwarfs at all. So a bit interesting, he's looking for a bit slower of a playstyle, maybe to match the fact that the Egyptian player on Isis is going to have a bit slower of a playstyle, but we'll just have to see how that pans out. And really, 3 dwarfs already out, so that's quite a lot. Let's go ahead and jump over to Zapata, and Isis has been incredibly dominant in the meta, really for a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason in my opinion is that absolutely disgusting Ancestors combo with Eclipse. You get to the heroic age, you run your Sphinx inside of the base, you drop Ancestors, you drop Eclipse, and say goodbye to the enemy's base. There's really not a lot that you can do about it. And I have played this matchup a few times where I get a nice forward base and get a lot of production. I do have a solid military lead, an economic lead, but then the Isis player hits the heroic age and it wipes out my whole forward base. So I am looking for a different way to approach this matchup because from the perspective of the Odin player, it does seem quite tough. Don't see any age ups coming in yet on either side. Let's take a quick look at the map here and see what we have. Pretty even spawns here, and it looks like we've got a bit of idle time in the town center on this side, but another villager coming out. Oh, and we do see we actually have another dwarf coming out, so going up to 4 here. Pretty solid base, got the hunt, pretty defensible area. Let's take a look at Zapata's base. Really nice actually with the tree line. You can easily wall off the section here. Big open space here, but you can get a wall up over there if you need to, and we do expect the Isis player to have a bit of walls, a bit of infrastructure built up. And look at this nice little house wall to protect the gold miners. I do like that. It's maybe not necessary because of the trees, but could be worried about a forest fire to break through there, so we just want to have the houses ready to protect our gold. We do see the age up still not coming through for either. Oh, we actually just had it click up on the side of the Odin player MaxTa. Looks like we're going up. Can we see where we're going up? We are going for Freya. Okay, so we expect to get that Valkyrie out early. We expect to get some early harass. And now we do see the age up coming up for Bast as well, getting the Sphinx, getting that Eclipse. Stay tuned, we're going to have an Eclipse combo coming soon, I would think. And while these early military units come out, let's take a quick peek at the relics, see what we got here. So down on the right side, villager movement speed, pretty good. Increases your gather rate for pretty much everything because of that walking time, so I'd give it a good B tier relic. We've got Fetters of Fenrir. So this is probably the worst relic in the game. I don't think it has any uses unless maybe if you're playing set, so that's a pretty bad relic. What do we have? Oh, we already got one picked up, and look at this. Harmonious Necklace, gold gathers faster. That is absolutely massive for Zapata. That's a huge pickup. And then the last one we've got here, Myth Units Resistant to Pierce. Actually pretty good. Usually I'd give this a C tier, but if MaxTa can grab that relic, you know, all of the hero damage from the Egyptians is pierce damage, so that actually could be quite effective for them, not to mention the towers and the town centers, so we'll see if they go for that relic there. Valkyrie coming out, looking to do a little harass. Let's flip over to Zapata here. Looking for an angle, not seeing anything. He's looking. Not able to get in there. Oh, he does burn the forest fire. Okay, so getting rid of the forest fire. And I wonder, yeah, it does look like it's actually reaching to these buildings. So pretty good use of, you know, a god power that a lot of people believe is one of the worst inside of the game. Knocking out a couple of houses. It's not as effective because we do have the Egyptian player here. So their houses aren't going to cost anything to get set up. So not quite as effective as if this had been against a different civilization. But it is going to cause some idle time for villagers that need to rebuild that infrastructure. So the pretty nice use of that god power. And we do get Harmonia's necklace dropped off. That's fantastic. Nice little defensive base. He pulled his vills from the giraffe just to keep them safe. Worried about raids coming through. And let's see what MaxTa's cooking up over here. Got the Valkyrie out, and we're going for some raiding cav. I do like this. The challenge that I face with Odin, or really any of the Norse pantheon versus Isis, is that the axemen that they have are highly effective against your entire army, unless you get the raiding cav. And if you get a couple of those out, they do handle the axemen very easily. The axemen do get that huge multiplier versus infantry, but their base attack is quite low, and they really can't touch these raiding cavs. Oh my goodness. 9 dwarfs. That's a lot of dwarfs. What are we looking for here? Are we looking for a quick heroic? We got some idle time as well, but definitely looking for a quick heroic coming in with that. That's a lot of dwarfs. I wonder if he's waiting for that prosperity. This may, you know, I think I know what MaxTa might be going for here. He may be thinking prosperity is going to get dropped, and he'll get all that extra gold benefit as well, and get a whole lot of gold early in the game. But I believe this was changed. I believe this only works for Isis's villagers at this point. It looks like, based on the tooltip, if we can trust it, that this only buffs up Isis's villagers. So, you know, not sure what he's going to do with all that gold. You do see it is really starting to pile up. He's got over 800 here. That's quite a lot. So, busting out units. It looks like we do have our first raid coming through. Let's switch over to Zapata and see what he sees. Couple axemen going out, defending. Yeah, and you can see these axemen absolutely tear through the Hursar. Only 5 attack, but they did even just get buffed from a 4 times multiplier to a 5 times multiplier, so they absolutely destroy those Hursars and any other infantry. But here come the raiding cav, looking for a poke, and they're going to absolutely crush those axemen if they can catch up, and looks like he decides against it. Looking to back off, looking to gather his forces before he goes in there, and looking at this base, this is pretty tough to raid. These villagers got to be aware, and they are. They're moving away. We've got the Egyptian towers up. We've got the Sphinx ready to do some damage. You know, that can do some serious damage. Pharaoh is ready. Little bit of a mistake here, getting caught out with the villagers on the berries. Pharaoh getting targeted. Pharaoh gets into the town center, but it looks like everything's going to be fine here. There's too many towers. It's too tight of a choke point. These raiding cav aren't really going to be able to get anything outside of a little bit of an idle time. And there comes the heroic age Scorpion Man coming out, and this is where you start to get nervous as the Odin player. You know, this is part of the reason why I found this really delayed age up with all the dwarfs quite curious, because versus Isis, you really need to get that early pressure out, because now we've got that Ancestors Eclipse just sitting there ready to be used whenever, and that's good. That's really scary as the Norse player. You know, I'd definitely be looking to split up into a couple different bases here, because one of those bases is going to get absolutely wiped. And let's just go ahead and see what Zapata's doing here on the other side. What's his angle? Because still not much of an army. You know, just a couple axemen, a couple spearmen. He's got his gifted myth units, and that's really about it. Not much army. And there's the Michael Stronghold. I was wondering when that was going to come up. You know, plenty of gold in the bank for it, plenty of favors, so we are going to get that up, making this really impossible to raid. And look how just nice and tight and structured this base is. How are you going to harass this? You know, where's the angle? Unless you get some throwing axemen to start sniping these villagers, it's really difficult to get in here against Isis. And now we've got a pretty scary picture for the Norse player, falling behind economically, falling behind just in the tempo of the game, because if you look at these resource counts, we're also floating on a lot of gold and raid coming through, but are we going to get any? I think these villagers are completely fine. So a little bit of idle time, and now these raiding cav are in a really tough position here. How are you going to get out of this? We've got the Pharaoh, the Priest, we got towers, we've got the Stronghold, and a lot of these horses are going to go down. Really not impactful, and only about 10 seconds of idle time there for the villagers, and losing almost that entire army. Let's see what else that MaxTa has back here. Doesn't look like much, and still floating almost 2,000 gold. I think he's going to go back and watch this and realize that 9 dwarfs is much too many for this point in the game. You just don't have, you know, any sort of purchases that you can make with that. Has even gone into the armory improvements. Doesn't look like we can see just yet, but is there a way to see? These are the things I'm still trying to figure out by looking at these replays, but what sort of armory improvements he has. Plow coming through, looking to use that gold there to get some additional gathering time, and then there's the age up. So still floating a lot of gold, and really I would think here that I would think MaxTa wants to just start spamming out throwing axemen. Look at the resources he has. You can get a bunch of throwing axemen out there for that cost, and not a lot of food, which you don't need for those units. So I think it's time to start spamming those out, but he is actually going into Thundering Hooves, so really committing to cavalry. So we need to bump up that food production here. Looking like he's going to go for a farm transition. I think that's the only option. Berries are running out, and there is that Ancestors Eclipse combo that we're worried about here. And look at that. Toth coming up to the heroic age. I think that this is looking really bad for MaxTa. What kind of unit count do we have over here? Where's his army moving? We got a little bit of an army. Really not a huge army, but every single god power available for use here. This could be really dicey. We'll have to see what happens. Let's ride back over with MaxTa, see how he's approaching this. Just getting his units out, guarding the gold, but again, you don't need this gold. We're not spending this gold. Let's spend it for some towers, maybe. You could spend some gold there, but you know, not a lot of use to that right now. And where are the throwing axemen? Now, they are starting to come out. We've got 2 in queue, but we're gonna need a lot more. And now we do have the mountain giant. Let's see what's going on with Zapata here. Grouping up the infantry, just getting an absolutely crazy amount of gold here. Keep in mind, we had prosperity triggered. We had that relic, Hermania's necklace, to get the bonus 10%. And we have the Pharaoh here. And what is this? We got a meteoroid shower going inside of MaxTa's base. This is looking like it's going to be absolutely disastrous for him. Villagers going down up there. Oh no, this is not looking good. This is not looking good. Losing about 10 villagers there, a couple buildings, town center down. But no follow-up yet. I think this is a really tough situation though, but you need to get out of here. If I was the Norse player, I'd be looking to migrate. At this point, you have no infrastructure left. Sphinx to the south, and he does not know where the army is, and we don't know where those ravens are. Ravens just idle. I'd be really worried here if I was MaxTa. Gonna try and get the town center back up. Oh, and here comes the cavalry, and there it is. Ancestors Eclipse, and there's really no coming back from this at this point. These Hearse aren't going to be nearly enough to take this on. Mountain Giant even coming in to try and help defend this town center, but that's not going to go up. This is looking like it's done and dusted for Zapata here. Villagers going down. The villager count 24 now, and there it is. MaxTa calls it in. Really great game, really clinical game by Zapata there. I was curious if he was going to look to go mythic or just expand to a second base. He did start to put up some walls here, maybe looking for a second base. Even had the Phoenixes ready to go if he needed them. But really clinical game. You know, I liked the base structure. I think base building is an undervalued skill in this game, something that I want to improve on. But you saw how difficult it was for those raiding cav to get in here, just putting a little wall. You know, 20, 30 gold investment, get that little wall there, my gold stronghold right out front. Almost impossible to raid this base, and we saw that. And I think as soon as Zapata realized there wasn't going to be enough pressure, he could just go full mythic age, wipe out the base, and then Ancestors Eclipse to take on the rest. So really well done, really clinical game. I feel like I learned a lot watching this game. So thank you everyone.